Prior to the coronavirus, working from home was increasing in popularity and availability, but COVID-19 accelerated it more than anything else. Suddenly, entire communities of commuters fell silent as everyone made their way to work down the hallway, not the highway. Due to this increase in remote work, communities began to be dubbed ZoomTowns. However, what is a ZoomTown? How has this shift impacted towns and cities across the United States of America? Luckily for you, Real Talker, in today's video, we will be talking about wealthy remote employees that are now flocking to ZoomTowns. Without wasting your time, let's start this video. The term ZoomTown is a play on the term boomtown, which referred to towns and cities that grew rapidly in response to the discovery of oil. ZoomTown's Zoom refers to the virtual conferencing software Zoom, which is used by a large number of remote workers. Thus, rather than oil, ZoomTowns are communities that are growing in size as a result of increased remote work opportunities. This trend towards remote work has impacted housing market trends. With fewer people having their housing dictated by their jobs, they have more freedom to live wherever they want, as long as they have access to broadband internet. COVID-19 prompted many people to relocate from expensive cities to more affordable suburbs or small towns. According to a Gallup poll, remote workers increased from 10% to around 50% of the US labor force in less than a month as a result of the pandemic. This shift has had a significant effect on smaller towns and cities, as residents have fled expensive, congested areas in search of more space at a lower cost. While small towns and cities have benefited from an increase in income, they have also seen an increase in demand for resources. COVID-19 compelled a large number of businesses to go remote. While many initially lamented the loss of normalcy, after adjusting, some people discovered that they preferred full-time remote work. Reduced time spent commuting, increased flexibility in terms of when and where they work, and a more balanced work life. All of these factors contributed to people taking steps to make remote work more permanent. Businesses have recognized the benefit of remote work as well. They recognize that by reducing the need for office space, they could reduce their overhead costs on space and utilities. Many reported an increase in productivity, as remote workers were not distracted by office distractions. Throughout the pandemic, numerous businesses announced that they would relocate all or a portion of their workforce on a long-term basis. This increased desire for long-term remote work has resulted in many workers desiring to relocate in order to work from anywhere with internet access. Many emigrated from cities with scarce real estate and a high cost of living to areas with better value for money. The rise of ZoomTowns and real estate investing. How do these two connect? According to Zillow research, increasing telework could enable nearly 2 million renters or 4.5% of renter households to leave urban areas. According to Zillow, this enables them to purchase a starter home in a more affordable neighborhood. According to the report, nearly half of American workers are employed in occupations where teleworking is theoretically feasible, though less than a quarter of these workers actually do so. This is an important factor for investors to consider when selecting their next investment market. NPR's Greg Rosalsky reports on thriving housing markets during the pandemic, dubbed ZoomTowns, and noting that they are only benefiting from the ability to work remotely. Many Americans, particularly employed 30-somethings, are abandoning their tiny rental apartments in trendy districts of expensive cities in favor of buying houses in more affordable cities or suburbs, where they can spend their Friday nights eating mozzarella sticks at Applebee's. Indeed, according to Bloomberg's Oshrat Carmel, Manhattan is a canary in the coal mine for metropolitan apartment real estate, with rents down 7.7%, 54% offering rent perks, and rental listings jumping to a record 15,025 in August, more than doubling the inventory from the previous year. Here's an update on mortgages. Interest rates fell to a new record low, and investors are still unsure what to do in a low-interest environment. It can be beneficial because it lowers lending costs, but it also encourages more home buying, which can drive up prices and complicate acquisitions. According to one of our mentors, there are over 19 million high-quality refinance candidates in America, accounting for 43% of all 30-year mortgage holders. This is despite the fact that refinancing already accounted for a record $1.1 trillion in 2020 Q2 originations. However, one of our friend's mentors reports that mortgages are becoming more difficult to obtain. Mortgage credit was tightest in more than 6 years in August, as lenders tightened standards in response to a weak economy. Last month, the group's Mortgage Credit Availability Index fell 4.7% to 120.9, the lowest level since March 2014, indicating tighter lending standards. Take note that the 15-year rate is extremely low, and because you're paying a lower rate over a shorter period of time, your total loan repayment costs will be historically low. Here's an iBuyer update. We had a relatively large iBuyer update that garnered a lot of attention, as did competing headlines. Both are technically correct. According to Redfin data, total iBuyer purchases have decreased, but the pace is gradually increasing. According to Redfin, iBuyers purchased the fewest homes in over 3 years last quarter as the coronavirus pandemic slowed business. However, the market is now reviving, with iBuyers reporting an increase in demand and even bidding wars from homeowners seeking quick cash and a secure way to sell during the pandemic. Additionally, one of our mentors reports that Zillow Offers recently launched in select Florida markets, marking the company's first new market expansion since the pandemic began in earnest in March. Finally, The Real Deal reports that Opendoor is considering an initial public offering through a special purpose acquisition company. Not to worry, I too had to look it up. The venture-backed company is in advanced talks to go public through a merger with social capital Hido Sophia Holdings, the report states. The transaction, which is expected to close in the next few weeks, would value Opendoor at $5 billion. Additionally, the articles note that Opendoor, who is backed by SoftBank, was recently valued at $3.8 billion. The investment thesis for Opendoor by Social Capital CEO Chamath Palihapitiya is available here. Additionally, a friend of one of our mentors reports that Social Capital is betting on the acquisition, on the strength of two secular tailwinds, rising home ownership in the United States, and the digitization of commerce. This move is likely to further disrupt the iBuyer landscape. Is ZoomTowns a boom or bust for rural enclaves? Others believe that workers as well as towns will benefit. Of course, reality is not quite that straightforward. A researcher at the University of Utah examined the development challenges faced by 1,200 gateway and natural amenity region communities in the American Mountain West region, which includes Utah, Idaho, Montana, and Wyoming. What we're seeing in some communities is rural gentrification, which is having a spillover effect, with residents no longer able to afford to live in the communities. One of our mentors says, noting that areas with particularly good access to outdoor recreation have been particularly hard hit. Numerous communities in small towns have encountered additional big city challenges, such as overcrowded schools, overburdened infrastructure, and difficulty retaining employees due to acute housing affordability issues. Nonetheless, for rural areas with the resources to manage the impact while capitalizing on the opportunity, including those actively seeking remote workers, it may be the catalyst necessary to jumpstart the local economy. According to rumors, many rural communities receiving an influx of remote workers are transitioning away from extraction economies towards tourism but have struggled with the industry's recent boom and bust. They see a chance to diversify their economic base. One of the benefits of the in-migration that we have seen is the influx of younger people. Rather than retirees to nature, you have people who are still working, have families, and have children in school. Is it a temporary or permanent situation? The following question on the minds of many communities is, are these ZoomTown residents here to stay? One of our mentors believes that they will establish roots in areas with significant natural resources. Incentivizing remote workers to engage in outdoor adventures is critical to West Virginia's strategy, he says, because this program will succeed if they come, fall in love with the state, and stay. Rumor has it that many ZoomTown residents will remain in their new homes as well, especially as towns evolve alongside their new residents. Once they reach this tipping point of being a reasonably cool town with a nice coffee shop, cool bars, and good restaurants, once they overcome the hump and become a place, people want to stay. Thus, what's fascinating about this flood of amenity migration is that almost certainly pushed a number of these communities over the hump. Because no one knows whether companies will allow to remote work indefinitely, it's difficult to forecast the future of these ZoomTowns surrounded by nature, or the workers who have flocked to them. At the moment, however, many ZoomTowns have rolled out their welcome mats to outdoors-loving workers who are able to pick up and leave. It's like they're saying, come on in. 10 smaller cities in the United States that are ideal for remote work. Between August 20 and August 2021, the percentage of remote job applications in Bend, Oregon was 41.8%, nearly double the national average, putting the scenic Beaver State mountain town at the top of the list of small cities. The remaining 5 cities are Asheville, North Carolina, Wilmington, Delaware, Johnson City, Tennessee, and Eugene, Oregon. Sarasota, Northport, Florida, Pensacola, Florida, Portland, Maine, and Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and Roanoke, Virginia round out the top 10 smallest cities in the United States. According to this post, specific remote Asheville job categories that are working out for residents include medical billing, recruiting, data analysis, and online instruction. While Wilmington includes many of the same roles, as well as legal work, content marketing, and IT/technical support. These are the 10 larger metropolises in the United States for remote work. While smaller cities are becoming increasingly popular as remote work locations, many professionals appear to prefer bustling metropolitan areas. Among larger cities, Cape Coral, Florida, Charleston, South Carolina, and the Tampa Bay area, all in Florida, followed by Jacksonville, Florida, Orlando, and Hampton Roads, Virginia, in that order. Omaha, Nebraska ranks 7th among large metro areas for professionals applying for telecommuter positions, with 28.1% of total applications coming from remote locations, followed by Kentucky's Derby City, Las Vegas, Nevada, and Salt Lake City, Utah. Here are a few ZoomTowns that have gained popularity recently. If you search for the top ZoomTowns, you'll notice that many of the names are similar. For reference, here are a few of the more common ones: Colorado Centennial, Denver Metro; Texas Frisco, Dallas Metro; Washington Bellevue, Seattle Metro; California's Carlsbad, San Diego Metro; California Fremont, San Francisco Bay Area. As you can see, these towns are located outside major cities but are close to amenities associated with large cities, such as cultural attractions, restaurants, and nightlife. They have lower property taxes than comparable properties located within larger city limits. Numerous communities are also located near areas of natural beauty, such as state/national parks and wilderness areas. ZoomTowns such as these have become a magnet for those who live and work in cities and desire more space and proximity to nature while remaining close to a large city. Can you buy a house in a ZoomTown? There are numerous factors to consider when purchasing a home in a ZoomTown. Consider the following advantages and disadvantages before making the leap. Pros: the following are reasons to leave the big city and relocate to a ZoomTown. It's a chance to live in a more affordable city close to major cities, attractions, and natural areas. There could be a greater variety of housing options and lower costs. Additional space and flexibility for work from home. No commute to contend with ZoomTowns may present an excellent real estate investment opportunity. Cons. However, with every advantage comes a disadvantage. Bear in mind that many people are considering this move, which increases demand in these areas. Numerous towns in these areas are experiencing housing shortages. Prices are steadily increasing. A surge in home buyers in one area may result in zoning law restrictions. Small towns lack the resources necessary to cope with population growth. The further you travel from densely populated areas, the less likely you will have access to cellular and broadband services. Your office may reopen and require your presence, resulting in an extended commute. What to look for when traveling to a ZoomTown? The allure of ZoomTowns is their widespread distribution. Individuals who work remotely have a greater degree of freedom in terms of where they live. Perhaps you've worked in a densely populated area and wish to live in a sleepy town surrounded by woods, farmland, or a lake. This is made possible by remote work. If it has robust cellular and broadband service, you can prioritize your living space features. Perhaps you desire proximity to a vibrant arts and entertainment district or a park with hiking trails. With remote work, you have the freedom to choose. ZoomTowns' growth reflects many Americans' shift towards remote work. COVID-19 had a profound effect on how people work and perceive remote work. Both workers and businesses are beginning to appreciate the value of this flexibility. Unfortunately, this shift is having a detrimental effect on a number of these popular ZoomTowns. As new money enters, prices rise and resources become scarcer. Residents who have lived in these areas prior to the influx may be unhappy with the newcomers' increased prices and traffic. On the other hand, they may be pleased that more people are moving to the area, particularly if it results in increased business. If you are fortunate enough to be able to work remotely, consider what you want from the location you are considering. Is it critical to be in a city, or would you rather be in a more rural location? Or perhaps something in the middle? That's it for this video, Real Talker. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon!